We all know that feeling. You're constantly scrolling through your library looking for that next big thing to finally scratch the Mount and Blade itch. Finding that perfect mix of sandbox freedom, massive battles, and that ultimate zero-to-hero journey is honestly a lot tougher than it looks. But the horizon is looking incredible right now. Today on Magic Game World, we're looking at 5 titles taking the medieval sandbox formula and really dialing it up. We're talking revolutionary physics, Kenshi-style survival, and the massive return of a legendary strategy king. First up, we've got Kinstrife, a game that's promising a totally new take on physically simulated medieval combat. It's set in the absolute chaos of 13th century Germany, and you're playing as a knight-errant just trying to survive in a world that's falling apart. What really separates this from Bannerlord is the sheer weight of the fighting. They're ditching canned animations for a cutting-edge physics system, where weapons don't just clip through targets, they deliver heavy, staggering blows. If you lose your balance, you actually fall. If you take a full charge from a horse, you're going down. It's a completely non-linear sandbox where you go from a humble squire to a legendary knight, and we're expecting this to drop either at the tail end of this year or sometime in 2027. Now, while Kinstrife focuses on the brutal physical reality of being a knight, our next game takes that sandbox freedom and pushes it into a much grittier, survival-heavy direction. Valorborn is basically what happens when you smash the DNA of Kenshi into a medieval setting. The devs are promising a truly living world that keeps moving with or without you, and they've fully committed to a strict no fake doors policy. Basically, if you see a building or a cave way off on the horizon, you can actually go inside. You can fly solo as a thief or hunter, or build out a massive squad of heroes to take on the world. Expect a huge focus on survival, crafting, and some serious faction tension, where your reputation actually dictates how you play. The best part? We don't have to wait. It's slated to launch in just a few days on April 15th. If the harsh survival elements of Valorborn sound a bit too stressful, then Chronicles Medieval is going to be right up your alley. Expected to hit later this year, this one is for everyone who lives for that classic rags to riches fantasy. You start at the absolute bottom with nothing but your own grit, carving out a name for yourself in massive skirmishes and sieges. While some RPGs keep the focus narrow, Chronicles leans heavily into massive scale warfare. You'll command iconic historical units like English longbowmen or French cavalry, issuing tactical orders while fighting right alongside your troops in custom battles. You get to build your own castles and defend them in a sprawling European sandbox where your decisions actually echo through history. Building an army is awesome, but establishing an actual home is a whole different beast, and that's exactly where Bellwright shines. This one has been cooking in early access for a while now, but we're finally looking at the full 1.0 release toward the end of this year. You play as someone framed for the murder of a prince, forced into hiding until you finally decide to fight back. Unlike your typical sandbox RPG, there's a massive emphasis here on town management and full-scale rebellion. You start with a tiny camp and slowly liberate entire villages from an oppressive crown, managing your resources and training raw recruits into master craftsmen and elite soldiers. The combat is skill-based and directional, which definitely gives off those Mount and Blade vibes, but the feeling of leading a grassroots revolution from the ground up gives it some serious emotional weight. But to be completely real with you guys, sometimes you want to move beyond just claiming one town and instead lead an entire continent through the ages. That brings us to the biggest heavy hitter on the horizon, Total War Medieval 3. Creative Assembly has been opening up more about their progress lately, and the scope is looking absolutely insane. The game is set to cover 300 years of history, meaning you'll literally watch the world evolve from chainmail knights to full-plate armor and early gunpowder. They're building this from the ground up on a brand new engine called War Core, and for the first time, they're heavily focusing on the psychology of war. Instead of just whittling down health bars, things like unit cohesion and morale will dictate every single battle. With massive day one modding support and a world that feels incredibly authentic, this is the grand strategy revival we've all been waiting for. Between the releases coming through the rest of this year and the big hits slated for 2027, the next several months are looking absolutely stacked for medieval fans. Whether you want the physics-based duels of Kinstrife or you're craving that grand-scale dynasty building of Medieval 3, there is so much to be excited about. Which of these 5 are taking the top spot on your wish list? Are you jumping into Valorborn next week? Drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Magic Game World for more updates on the best upcoming Sandbox RPGs. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.